Guys, what is going on out there today? Thanks for joining us for another episode of the Gold Ball Hunting Podcast. Brent Abel here, Jeff Jacklich.
Over here?
There.
Over here?
Here somewhere.
Actually, looking at the screen, I'm on the right, but on your left, I think.
Well, that's like the quantum reality thing you wanted to talk about today?
Absolutely. Yeah. What's real? What isn't, right? Is that actually the way it looks?
This is all artificial. This is just animation that we're doing. So, guys, baby, all right? Sorry. Okay, distracted. Here we go. Guys, thanks for hanging out with us today. Look, before we get into today's topic, and Jeff's got a burning deal going on. He just got to get it off his chest today. It's a good one, by the way, and at least he tells me it's a good one. We shall find out.
We'll see.
It could be a total thud, but we won't know until we get into it. But before we get into it, guys, if you want to get in a free 10-minute coaching call with me and Jeff, the three of us, a private three-way call. All we ask you, bring that one thing in your game right now that is something you just cannot figure out. But if you could, man, it could free you up. Might go on the tour.
Might.
What are we charging? 50% of the earnings once they go out in the tour?
Yes, 60-40.
Ooh, man, it's rough until they prove themselves, right?
Yeah, well, it's a lot of work.
Okay, all right. So anyway, free private call, the three of us. Go over to goldballhunting.com, drop in a first name, email address, and then you'll get access to our online calendar scheduler where you get to cherry pick the date and time that works best for you. So that said, Jeff, what's on that big brain of yours today?
Well, I was listening to a lecture the other day, and the topic it was having to do with quantum physics, nature of reality. So it was a light subject.
Who are you? Quantum physics.
Light subject, but
what is? And by the way, light, sure. What's your definition of quantum physics?
Wow, my definition. Well, I don't know that I have a definition. Let's just say this: the quantum field is about do we create our own reality, or is this being created for us? The nature of manifestation, law of attraction. There's a whole bunch of other buzzwords I could throw in there, but let's just kind of keep it in that realm right there. How you think, as Alan, what was his name? Well, there's Alan Watts, but James Allen, I think, early turn of the century, 1800s, early 1900s.
As a man thinketh.
Absolutely, so he is.
Absolutely.
And so, anyway, with that in mind, as the lecture was going on, it brought up this idea of, are you moving away from, and I'll circle back and kind of make this why it kind of struck me, is that are you moving away from what you don't want, or are you focused on creating what you want, right? And so, how does that relate to tennis? So for me, what it did is it brought up all the conversations I hear, out at the courts, watching league matches and tournament matches, and watching and listening to conversations after the matches. And sometimes you hear it during the match, but a lot of times after the match, you hear the player assessment of what happened. And a lot of times the player assessment is so focused on not doing something. The guy's forehand, he did this, so I know I had to avoid that. I didn't want to do this. And never in the conversation does it come up about the player's own skill set, what their strengths are, and how the thought of, I tried to do this. This is what I was thinking. I tried to create an opportunity here by doing this, and X, Y, and Z. The conversation seems to hedge mostly on the avoidance of something, not doing something. Oh, please don't choke. We know that works as a statement, self-talk statement, right? And that, so I don't know. I just thought, is there something
Yeah.
interesting here to bat around a little bit? Because I think players do it unknowingly. They try to move away from the pain as opposed to moving toward what they want.
Yeah, I think there's no question about that. And one of the things that we've talked a lot about is your reaction to missing a shot. So you've got a wide opening target, and you end up missing it. It's an error. And usually the first thought that comes out is, don't do something, or stop doing this. And it's just like you said, it's stop creating pain, or do something so you move away.
Right.
As opposed to what I've always thought, and what works for me, not always thought, but just recently, is, well, what I meant to do instead, and turn it into a positive, which would simply be, in your own words, which are monitor and adjust. You might go, rather than saying, well, stop hitting the ball so close to the lines, as opposed to, next time what I meant to do instead was actually hit the ball right in the middle of the cross court quadrant. So what you're talking about is moving into positive self-talk as opposed to negative self-talk. And boy, that is...
Yeah, so another example of it is, and we watch it in doubles all the time, and in fact, I'm, as a net player, and I know you do this too, we've talked about this quite a bit in some of our private webinars with our double students, and that is, understanding when I can get a player to try to avoid me, I'm on the winning end of that deal. So now they're no longer actually trying to hit a ball into the court. Their first focus, their first priority is to not let me touch the ball. So now they're going to be satisfied with hitting the ball wide all day long, because even though they don't like the result, they are satisfying their first primary directive, which is, don't let Jeff hit the ball. Don't let him poach. Don't let him come across. Don't let him steal a ball. And so we don't even realize that we're doing these things because, again, we're trying to avoid something. Don't do that.
Right.
And that's not a task. It'd be like me telling you today, Brent, I really want you to work hard at this. Please do not paint your kitchen black today. Right? I mean, what are you going to do? Sit there and grit your teeth and not paint your kitchen black? No, it's not a task. It's not, right? It's not a thing to do. So I know it's a silly example, but the idea is that the moving toward what you want is actually constructing the point, actually having done some pattern work, having a plan against this particular opponent, as opposed to, like I first described, is, I got to keep it away from this. Don't give him that shot again. I mean, how many times have you heard that, right? And it's just like, oh my goodness, what do you do then? Yeah. Apparently there's no place for me to hit the ball anymore.
Yeah, yeah.
Right?
I remember a doubles match, Chris Morgan. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Chris and I were playing the finals of the Pacific Coast in Berkeley one year. And Chris had overheard one of our opponents, who we'd never played against before, who's a darn good doubles player. But he was talking to someone, he was saying, poaching is for losers. And so Chris and I are warming up the finals against these two guys, and Chris comes, oh, by the way, I'm not going to name his name, but he said, so-and-so said a couple of days ago that poaching is for losers. And I said, so are you telling me that my cross-court lane is going to be wide open all day long? And he
4
goes,
lanes.
Yeah. And he said, I think so. And look, I mean, it's natural to feel like a little bit of avoidance, especially at that level where you're going, man, I mean, these guys,
right.
I want to keep it away from these guys. But at the same time, now all of a sudden, I have the freedom to take as much time as I want with my return to serve. And it was more about the return to serve,
right.
More about my first volley behind my serve, knowing that this thing is going to be unobstructed the whole day.
Right. Right.
And we went through these guys, and I mean, we're gonna maybe beat these guys 2 or 3 times out of every 10. I mean,
Right.
they're on paper better than we are. But on that day, Chris just said, you know what? We don't have to avoid this thing. We don't have to avoid the guy at net
Right.
because he ain't moving.
He ain't moving.
And I'm going, well, wow. I mean, how much easier can this be? I don't care how
Right.
big the serve
That's
is.
like insider trading almost, that kind of information.
Oh, I
right?
mean, what is it? The SEC, I don't know, whatever the
Right.
securities guys were, just knocking on my door. Hey, man, he might be moving. Okay, sure, right,
Sure.
sure. So, I think that's a good topic, and I think that I think a lot of players. Well, there's so many ways to interpret what you're talking about, which is avoiding pain and moving towards something positive. For me, it
Right.
starts with how do you react at the end of a point,
Right.
and I used to be pretty darn negative. I'm so much better. I am so much
Right.
better now and you've helped me with this a lot since we've been doing this, is with the monitor and adjust concept. It would be one thing for me to not react in a negative way, but it would be another thing to say, okay, well, what I meant to do instead was have a little more of a plane here, so I'm getting into the technique. That's not really it. The thing
Right.
ought to be, monitor
Right.
ought to be, I can trust my technique. I just
Right.
need to tell myself, let's just raise this target a little bit, or let's do
Right.
something with the target that has nothing to do with avoidance
Right.
and everything to do with, well, here's what I want to do. So,
Right.
good stuff, man. Good. Thank you for
Yeah.
that.
Yep.
Guys, hope you got something out of this today. Thanks for hanging out with us. TheGoldBallHunting.com, the Jeff and Brent Show, whatever we call this, I don't know. We're trying to help tournament players, league players. We're trying to help the Wednesday night crew. Want to be the man, want to be the gal every Wednesday night. You're sick and tired of having to buy the beers, the wine, whatever it is. We want to help you take that game up. Really, and we haven't talked about this for a long time, is
Yeah.
really what we're trying to do is help players reduce their skill level range. That's something we have not talked about since the very beginning episodes, and this is episode 80 something.
Wow.
Can you believe that?
Unbelievable.
80 plus
Just like
episodes?
Knuckles, dude. I mean, we're every day,
Yeah.
every day.
So, but your skill level range is one day you can go out there and play great. You go home, your chest is puffed out, and you're just going, honey. She's going, yeah.
Yeah.
I think I got this tennis thing figured out. Great,
I'm the
babe.
man.
Great. Okay, good. The next day you go out, not so good. Not
so
so
much.
good. Not so good. You go home and she looks at you and she knows. And she says, you still the man? No, I'm not the man. So the skill level range is literally, I mean, if you're a 4-5, you can play at a solid,
Right.
computer confirmed 4-4-5. But the next day you can go out and play like a 4-1. Right? I'm not saying 4-1's bad, but I'm just saying that's a pretty big difference in skill level right there. So you could be a 4-0 playing down to a 3-6, whatever. It's all relative. What we want to do, what Jeff and I want to do, is help you reduce. We want to help you bring the bottom of that skill level range up to where your top is. Excuse me. So that when you go out and play every day, you're pretty darn predictable. You know how you're going to play day in and day out. And once you have that feeling, you start to build confidence.
Yep.
And that's when you can start to inch your way up to a new level, a new higher level. But you got to bring the bottom up to the top on a consistent basis. So
Yeah.
again, we want to help you. One way to start doing that is with a free 10-minute coaching call. GoldBallHunting.com, first name, email address, and you'll get access to our online calendar, the scheduler, where you get to cherry pick a date and time that works best for you. We're offering also, we've got online students. We've got students where we're helping with just 30-minute private webinars. They are paid for webinars, but we are actually helping you create your own brand, who you are out there, your unique
Yeah.
brand, and then giving you a customized playbook based on that brand. If that's something you want to do too, start with the free coaching call. That would be the best way to do it. And then if you want to take the next step, which would be to become one of our monthly students, which is a bigger ticket item, but it just depends on what you want to do with your game. I mean, if you're really serious about doing some damage out there, that might be the way to go. So, guys, thanks for hanging out with us today. Jeff, the mic is all yours, man.
Like us, share us, please subscribe. Let us know what you think down below.
Guys, that's right. I think quite a bit about it. Guys, get out there today. Help someone else have a great day, and we will do this again tomorrow, Jeff.
Can't wait.